Hi, everybody, and welcome to Chatting with Campbell, which is the Brighton versus Arsenal preview. I'd just like to welcome, as always, Mr. Lee Judges. How are you, Lee?
I'm good, thank you very much, Kev.
And Dapper Dan Potts. How are you, Dan? You okay, pal?
I'm all good. I'm all good, boys. Of course I'm all good. Of course I'm all good.
Well,
How are
listen,
you?
I don't want to wait. I don't listen. By the way, I've got to let you know, guys. I need to go into. I'm having an operation. By the way,
Oh, blimey.
An
to
operation.
get this smile off my face. What do you expect to get this smile? They're trying to take this smile off me, mate. Don't worry about that. Right, let's cut into it. Let's cut into it, guys. Derby Day. I'm going to start with you, Lee. I know how they've tortured you at times.
Yes,
Spurs
tortured,
fans, haven't
good
they?
word.
They've tortured
word.
and tormented you at times. Tell me about your Derby Day, mate.
Well, it was a great derby day. Had a few beers, went down to the game. Do you know what? I've got to say this: the atmosphere around the pubs and everything was fantastic, as you expect on the derby day. But when you got into the ground, it was just electric. It was buzzing, And then from the first minute, I didn't even know they were. I forgot that you were here. That was what they were saying. Thank God. They was quiet from the first minute because really, they had nothing to cheer. We absolutely smashed them in that first half. Absolutely smashed them. Team selection. I'm going to say this now, Kev. A lot of people were saying before the game, "Oh, Arteta, if he gets, he's played." Xhaka. We all said that we thought we'd play. We didn't think it was the right decision. Massive call. He went with it. A lot of fans were going, right, this is on Arteta's shoulders if we lose this. Well, they all turned up and proved, listen, I thought, Mikel Arteta, look, you've got a lot of stick for praising with him and sticking with him. And I'm not saying that it's a done deal at the moment, but ultimately, he deserves a lot of praise for this game. We give him the stick when it's there, but he got everything right on that day. And someone said the other day, well, if you can't get a team up for a North London derby, you shouldn't be there. I didn't see too many Spurs players up for it. So, fair play to the manager.
Yes.
He got everything right on the day. Thoroughly enjoy. Do you know what? I'm going to say that I do not like these games, as you well know, because I get a lot of stick, and it means more to me that we don't lose than actually win. You know what I mean? Because it's that, I get a lot of stick and all that. It was an absolute masterclass and pleasure to be involved in that North London derby. Sit there. I had my old pipe out if I was allowed to after 10 minutes. You know what I mean? I'll tell you, it was like such a comfortable game, and I'm going to say this now. If I've got one criticism, and there ain't a criticism really, the only criticism, why couldn't it have been 6 or 7 and ripped right now? Why? You know what I mean? But listen, I'll take 3-1 all day long. And do you know what? I'm not worried about Saturday's game at the moment. From Sunday till Friday night, I am going to enjoy what has happened there. I see a couple of the old Spurs today at football, you know what I mean, like giving it as they've been like that. I mean, like, I'm not interested in football no more. I'm not interested no more. I was watching the golf. You absolute bellends, and I love it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Brilliantly. Dan, what about you? What was your Derby Day like, mate?
Well, listen, it's one of those, isn't it? Like Lee says, it's like going to the dentist. You don't really enjoy it. You just want to get it over and done with. But whether you're Arteta in or out, Kroenke in or out, Edu in or out, and that doesn't matter about this game. Forget that for now. Derby Day is about winning. And I will not accept losing any football game, but I certainly will not accept losing to that lot. So obviously, you build up, don't you? And you get into the swing of things. You see your mates, and everyone's the same. The butterflies are in the stomach. Everyone's nervy. You have a couple of beers, and that really don't settle your nerves down at all. But I must admit, I saw the team, Kevin. I got a little bit deflated when I see Granit Xhaka in there, which we discussed last week. I thought that leaving Pepe out might have been a mistake because I still think that he's a better player than people give him credit for. Well, it worked, didn't it? It was absolutely spot on. Everybody played sensational. I don't think I can give anybody a rating less than an 8 out of 10. That's how good they were. And I'm with Lee. Yeah, it's frustrating we didn't get another goal, but we didn't need to, Casey. The game was over in 35 minutes because we turned up and they didn't. To see the Tottenham midfield like that, and I see Jamie Carragher and Thierry Henry on Monday night, what the hell were they even thinking of there? I honestly have never seen I've never seen us do that to a team for what seems like forever. I can remember Manchester United and Liverpool a few seasons ago in the Arsene Wenger days where it was game over at half time, but we haven't seen it like that for a long time. To get into a situation of putting them to bed inside 35 minutes was a fairy tale start, mate. And I have to big up a lot of the players, in particular, but I think with Saka and Smith Rowe, the reason that the sentimental reasons, I think some people have hyped them up massively, but they are going to be top class players. You look at the mentality of those two, 21 and 20 years old now. They are going to be top class. And yes, they proved at the weekend why they're going to be top class. Thought Thomas Partey was outstanding in midfield. He is head and shoulders for me above anybody in our team. He's so good. I can't believe we still got him, if I'm honest with you. That's how good he is. And I've got to big up Tomiyasu because he was a player that came in and I thought everyone was calling for Lamptey or Aarons or, Mukalele from Leipzig or Klosterman. I was guilty of that, Kev. When we got Tomiyasu, I thought, who's this guy then? I don't know who this guy is. Emerson went to Spurs and we definitely got the better right back. Trust me, we definitely have got the better right back. So he's looking good. And of course, Aaron Ramsdale's proving why he deserves the number 1 glove. So it was one of those, Kev, that who could not enjoy that game? Do you know what I mean? No, it doesn't matter where you are in your Arteta head, in or out. Kroenke, do you like the club? Are you a Granit Xhaka fan? None of that mattered because we just battered them, mate. We didn't just scrape past them. We absolutely battered them. And it proves that we can do it. This team are good enough. We just need to see a little bit more consistency and momentum. And before I finish, Casey, I just want to throw a couple of things out there. We do have a couple of super chats, and I just want to big up our sponsor, Sally. Sally's Artwork. Get yourself over to Facebook and Instagram. She can do loads of artwork for you, personalised Arsenal artwork for you. We have a couple of super chats, Casey. You're right if I just read them out quick?
Yeah, of course. No problem. Yeah.
Good stuff. Joseph Connor Golden, thank you so much. Big up to you three legends, Dan, Lee and Kevin. And Mark Arthur has also said, this is not really a football or Arsenal question, but have any of you been to Bermuda? I can't say I have been to Bermuda. I've not been so lucky. I don't know about you two.
No.
I've never been to Bermuda.
No, never.
Like to go, though.
Well, I tell you, Spurs has been to Bermuda. The Bermuda Triangle, that's where they were on Sunday, mate, first half. I'm telling you, they were in there. But look, I want to turn it back. Well done, Dan, and thanks for the super chats, guys, everyone. What I want to go back to, I often say it's the players, right? And I've had battles and Barneys and all sorts with people telling me I'm deluded, I'm crazy, etc. But on Sunday, forget Spurs because it's about us. Our approach was right, our attitude was right, our aggression was right. Do you, and this is to you firstly, do you see a big difference in our attitude now than you did in the first 3 games? Because I think this is really important balance.
That's a good question. This moment in time, I'm going to wait and see what happens on Saturday against Brighton, because I think one it's easy to get up for the North London derby for players. As it's a special game and a difference and all that.
Lee, whoa, sorry. Let me just rephrase it then.
Go on,
because I'm talking about obviously the pressure on the Norwich game. Going up to Bandit Country, to Burnley, winning 1-0, getting bombarded up there. Then when all the real pressure's on, because you know what gets levelled at us, it's only Norwich and Burnley.
Yeah.
We're playing a real team now in Spurs. They've come through that one with the right attitudes. So that's why I'm saying we've lost 3, we've won 3.
Yeah, I think there has been a difference. I think there has been a change. You know what I mean? What I've liked is, and I said it before, the Burnley game was a big test. I don't think Arsenal got the credit they deserve for that 1-0 win. It wasn't pretty, But you sometimes, as you well know, you have to win games. Sometimes ugly, you know what I mean? Those 1-0 wins, and you just put them in the bank and off you go. You don't go too much into it, and I think that was important. The game against Norwich was just about winning the game. There was pressure on that game. I look back at that game, and it was never going to be pretty. It was just about building a little bit of confidence, and I think that they've done that. Now they've gone on to a different level with the game against Spurs. The performance, not just that, the work rate. Look at the work rate of Aubameyang. Let's just talk about him for a second. Yeah. The performance that he put in, I forget about his goal because that's immature. He won every header that he went in for, like, you know, against central defenders. He won. He was holding the ball up. He was chasing back. That is what he's set the standard now of every game. That's what you've got to do. It's not easy, but you've got to do that. Odegaard in midfield. People have criticised that signing for whatever reason. Not on here, we haven't. We've always said it was a good, absolutely brilliant from a midfield player of 22, 23, 24. How old he is, I'm not too sure how old he is. He's not that old. But the work rate. Some people have even questioned, you know, should he be at the club because of, you know, like he wanted to play for Real Madrid. The performance that he put in on Sunday tells me that he does want to be at Arsenal and he's happy to be at Arsenal. And I think that the one thing that Mikel Arteta's got right, Kev, is the signings at the moment, all contributing. You know, from Ramsdale, as we said, Tommy Isu's playing really well. And I can tell you this now.
Do you know what? Nobody's mentioned Ben White.
Ben White, I'm going to go on to Ben White in a second, but I'm just going to say, on Wednesday, you know, Kieran Tierney must have been sitting there watching that Wimbledon game and seeing like Tavares, what performance he put in, because he thought to himself, hold on, I've got to up my game here, otherwise he's going to be taking my place. Yeah. So I think that was you know, even though he didn't contribute on this game, his performance on Wednesday contributed to Tierney having a kick up the backside. Ben White, I thought, done really well on Sunday. Doesn't got the credit that he deserves, because I think people are going on Gabriel. But straight away, that tackle in the first minute on Song set the tone for that whole game. Yeah. One, I don't say what it is. A tackle or something in a game sets it up. That tackle set it up. I was off my seat. Get in there, like against. Get in there. Give him what you have to give him, like. Do you know what I mean? No respect for Harry Kane. You know what I mean? And I loved it. And we absolutely overrun them in midfield. And Xhaka was part of that. Unfortunately, the biggest disappointment now is that he's gone and got injured and out for 3 months. But, you know, all in all, a fantastic performance. And I do see, you know, going back to the question, I do see things slightly changing with Arsenal. But
long way to go, Lee.
There's a long way
to go. And we're not saying, one thing I'm not saying, and this is what I will say, and I'll bring it to you, Dan. One thing I'm not saying is we're a finished product. We have turned a massive corner or anything like that. I'm only talking about the approach, the attitude, and our aggression, because that's one thing we've questioned many a time with this Arsenal side, because we don't know what we're going to get. Now it's been 3 games with so-called Arteta's team, and we've kind of seen it progressing a little bit. So what's your thoughts on that balance, Dan, as opposed to the first 3 games?
Well, I think that, like Lee said, we deserved a lot more credit because the mentality was right going up to Burnley, because we didn't get beaten up and bullied. So it was all about how we're going to turn up in the North London derby, where it matters to everybody. You know, Burnley matters, but it doesn't matter half as much as this game. So we ended the game at the North London derby with all of the new signings on the pitch, including Lokonga and Tavares, right? So we can say now that this is his team. Ben White deserves a lot of credit, because for Burnley, he was doing what he didn't do against Brentford, which was win stuff in the air. And on the floor, he wasn't as comfortable. I thought he had a great game at the North London derby. And I think next to Gabriel, that will be a partnership that does form well. I do believe that. I think he's going to get a lot of credit, a lot of criticism at times, because, again, like Pepe, there's a lot of money spent on the lad. But I think with time, him and Gabriel will be solid. But like you say, Kev, I think the mentality of that side going into the Spurs game was what probably impressed me the most, because you've questioned it before. Once you cross the white line, what team are we going to get? And we don't know sometimes. But when we went into that game, straight away it was right. Aubameyang, great shout from Lee. A proper captain's performance. His head was on the right shoulder. And do you know what? What I liked about him actually was he's proved what I've been saying for weeks, that he is still sharp. He has still got pace. He can still do what he's been doing previously. Obviously, mentality was a little bit wrong perhaps last season. And of course, now it looks like he's now a part of this team again and he's ready to go forward. I was just really impressed with every single player's technical ability, but more importantly, the mentality was right, because they were celebrating the goals like the fans. And that's when you know, including the manager, who I know I'm not a massive fan of, he was going nuts when we were scoring. But so I've never had any doubt that he wants to win these games and he loves Arsenal and wants to take us forward. And that showed at the weekend. But these players at the weekend, for me, showed something that I weren't so sure that they were going to have. And for me, that is the biggest thing. I've always rated them. I've always said they're good enough. I just wanted the manager to get some telepathy with them and get them going. And listen, if he plays like that, and it's not going to happen for the rest of the season, but if he does, we are in a good place. And, you know, this is going to be a big test. I'm with Lee. This is going to be a big test. Graham Potter's a manager I really respect and like. I think he's done a great job. And we'll get a real test this weekend at Brighton, because they're a very, very good side and doing very, very well at the moment.
Well, you know, like I said, we're not getting carried away, are we, guys? And we do realise it is Arsenal, and we've seen uptrends of form before. But somehow, to me, this feels a bit different. And I'll tell you why it feels a bit different. And I'll ask you this, Lee. When you're in the stand and you see the Ben Whites of this world putting tackles in, and you're seeing Thomas Partey run the midfield, and you're seeing Aubameyang, who is much maligned, has been questioned, there's been, you know, it's been up and down whether he should actually be captain, putting in the work and work rate, scoring a fantastic goal. You got the two Halem boys who some say Pepe should have started, but they were sensational today. There seems to be something different about this team at the moment. Do you agree with that, or do you think it's just, it could be pie in the sky?
Well, there is that worry that it's another false dawn, because we've had them a few times, you know what I mean? So I get that. But, like, what I will say this, Skipper, it's got nothing to do with winning and all that. But over the beginning of the season's come, and even though all the fans have been back, it's been, Arsenal playing, I've got to go up there. I'm not really looking forward to this game. I'm not really buzzing. Over the last 3 games, I've seen things differently. So I'm now, I can't wait to Brighton now. I'm really looking forward to the game, where I was thinking, got Burnley at the week and having no enthusiasm for it. But, you know, and I include the game against Wimbledon in that as well, because it was a great atmosphere in the ground. So when you go into the ground, you're getting a great atmosphere straight away. So that's great. But I do see something a little bit different with this team. I don't know about mentality yet. That's going to have to come in after 4, 5, 6 games. But what I've seen is, for the first time in a very, very long while, some solid defensive performances from players. It was Gabriel's come back into the team and has played really, really well in all games. You know, as Dan said, when we went to Burnley, we weren't bullied by Wood. You know what I mean? Like Harry Kane, if Harry Kane tried to get physical, Gabriel put him down. If he wanted to go in with a little pace behind, Ben White was coming in there. So I'm liking what I'm seeing partnership. Thomas Partey in midfield is something we've been crying out for a very, very long while. You know, all of a sudden we've got him now in midfield. So we've got a little bit more, what I would say, sound-based in the spine. A little bit of a spine, a little something now a little platform that we can build off of, like the attacking players. And I like that. I like what I see now. So we've got that little bit of, I was disappointed that we conceded a goal on Sunday, you know, because we've kept clean sheets out. But that's what I want now. I want the players to get the ump because they're conceding goals, you know. So I want us to go to Brighton, and I want us to put in a good, solid defensive performance. Now, if we defend properly and solid defensively, we've got ammunition that can win games. And even if we're not playing well, we can still get something and nick something, Kev. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I haven't seen that for a long. We've been too flaky. You know what I mean? Teams put it on us and we crack up. It doesn't look like we've got that now, you know. So, and that's down to, you know, the signings of Gabriel, Tomiyasu, you know, have come in there, and Ben White now, Partey are all signings that have been made over the last year or so, and they're key, you know. And if Arsene Wenger had had that sort of player in his team, and with all the flair that he had, it could have been different for Arsene Wenger. But for some unknown reason, he didn't choose to do this. But I think Mikel's probably looked at it and thought, you know, if Arsene made a mistake, that was it. I'm not going to make that mistake. I'm going to get those players in there, like, you know. And I think that it's good to see good goalkeeper with communication, knows what he's doing. You know, what I like about Ramsey, people might not like this and whatever. If Ben White made that tackle on Song in the first minute, he's giving it, clapping him, giving him encouragement. I love all that. You know, you cannot be, if you're on a football field and you knock the ball out for a corner and someone comes up to you and says, well done, you know what I mean? Like, it's basic stuff, but, you know, sometimes a basic, like, you need a little pat on the back just to keep you going or whatever.
Keep you
like,
going.
you know?
Yeah.
And I think this, so I like that. You know, I'm liking what I'm seeing at the back. And they are defending well. But let's get this right. It was only Tottenham, you know what I mean? There's bigger fish to fry out there, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we've got,
Well, as you say that, Lee, I believe someone is waiting in chat, waiting to come in. So can we bring Maz in?
We do have Maz waiting. Hey, Maz.
What's going on? How's everyone doing? All right?
Hi, Maz. How are you? You okay, Maz?
Yeah, all good. Thank you. All good. You know, living life near the top of the league. I can't
Hey,
believe
listen, you better be careful up there. It's rarefied air up there. Hey,
It's
you
been
guys
a
have,
while for you lot, innit?
listen, you guys have started very well. You guys have started very well. And I just want to get what's your thoughts on the game on Saturday, Maz? Considering where you are and how the start's gone.
Yeah, no. So with regards to our start, I'll be honest, as a Brighton fan, of course, we didn't imagine being anywhere near where we are right now, where we're sitting at the moment. And of course, we had the chance to go top of the league on Monday as well against Palace, which was just unheard of as a Brighton fan. So yeah, it's all been a bit crazy. No one as a Brighton fan is expected to be where we are. But we're playing good football at the moment. Last season we played some good football as well. Just, you know, XG was killing us. So we weren't putting our chances away, and that, you know, we're struggling from that front. But, you know, we sort of carried that form in, and now we're scoring goals, which is the big sort of key difference for us. So yeah, no, all in all, I'm very happy. Apart from, you know, we were poor on Monday. I'm not going to lie to you. We were against Palace. We just weren't good. We just didn't turn up. Similar to the Everton game where we lost as well. So yeah, it was a poor performance from that front. But against Arsenal, as we know historically, apart from the 2 times you've beaten us since we came up, we enjoy playing against you boys. So should be interesting.
So you have no fear? Is that what you're telling me, man?
No. Listen. I exactly what Lee and Dan were saying about the foundation now at Arsenal. Like looking at your back line now, you've got Tierney, Tommy. The right back, I can't say his name. Tomiyasu, that's the one. Gabriel and White. And I think the foundation you got there is really, really good. Like, you know, defensively now, you look much more solid now with those players at the back. So, and going forward, of course, look, Aubameyang, Emile Smith-Rowe, Bukayo Saka, they all speak for themselves. So, you know, I'm definitely scared. However, you know, we've turned up against you boys a few times. So I'm hoping Mope does his classic, you know, shithousery, last minute winner. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Dan, I just want to come to you on that. What's your thoughts on Brighton? And our record isn't great down there, is it? It's not great. Although we won there 1-0 last season, we played poor first half and we just about got over the line. What's your thoughts on this game? Because Brighton are going well. Yeah.
This is the thing. This is why this game, Casey, is going to be a real test for us. Because I think they're on fire. They're playing well. I really like their manager. I've got to say, I spoke to Matt privately and I said, I think you've got a brilliant manager there. Like, how he's getting the best out of some of those players. Like, no disrespect to Maz, won't mind me saying, he shouldn't be, you know, getting Mope well banging in the goals for fun. And he, you know, he's sold us Ben White and he's just put Shane Duffy and Lewis Dunk straight back in, and they ain't conceding as many goals. So it's like, you know what? We'll take that 50 million and we'll keep Basuma, who we probably should have spent 50 million pounds on. Let's be honest. And they are a great side for what they've got. And I think that, you know, Graham Potter, Maz won't like me saying this, but I don't think Graham Potter is going to be there long term, because I do think a bigger club is going to come and snap him up, because he is going to be a very, very good coach. You know, he's learnt his trade at Ostersunds. He's gone to, I think it was Swansea. Now he's at Brighton, and they are playing some good football. I think what I like about Brighton is they're an attractive style of play. You know, they're not one of these clubs like a Sam Allardyce where they lump it long and just kind of be hard to beat like a Burnley. You know, and there's no disrespect to teams who do that because that's the way they've got to play. But he's got some players that you'd think might be a bit like that, but he's not interested in playing that style. He wants to play attractive football. This is why they have caused us some problems, Casey, and not just at their place, at our place. They've beaten us a few times over the last few years as well. So I think, you know, we all remember the game where Granit Xhaka gave that penalty away. That's not like Granit Xhaka, is it? No, sorry, I won't go into it. He gave the penalty away, and we missed out on the top four. That was a massive night, a day for Arsenal because of that. And you know, since then we've always kind of struggled. Obviously, we know what happened with Guendouzi and Mopé, and that will never be kind of forgotten about, I don't think. But you have got some players, Maz, like, you know, Danny Welbeck's going to want to come back and prove a point. Adam Lallana's a player that always seems to be technically good for you. Obviously, Bissouma, I don't know if he's fit, and we'll come on to that, I'm sure. But you've got some players that can be very dangerous for us as well. And, you know, I've got to bring this super chat in quick as well we finish, which is going to lead on nicely, which is from Chaitanya. Just saying that Brighton will be a great test for Arteta. If he can keep the team composed and get the team selection right, it should be easy. Cheers, Dan, Lee and Kevin. I don't think any game's easy, trust me. But, yeah, that's my thoughts on Brighton, Casey.
Lee, I just want to come to you. That's a really good point about it is another test for us, isn't it? It's another test for Arsenal in going to a place where we don't really get many results. So after a great win against Spurs, the team have to really refocus, don't they?
Yeah, and we're now playing a team now that's in the top half of the table, or in the top, you know, top 3 or 4, are in form. They're playing really well, Brighton. I watched Brighton a few times last season, and it was like, God, if they could finish, they would be right up there. And that was what they was like last season. No different. They're playing no different than they was last season to this season. It's just that they're taking their chances this season and doing really well. They're a good footballing side. So it is a test for us, and like this is a test that Arsenal have got to overcome. It's no good, like, you know, beating the teams that are low. You've got to, you know, put one over a team that's firing. Yeah. And Brighton, I think we may be a little bit lucky because, like, Bissouma, I think is touch and go whether he's going to be fit. Well, I think Danny Welbeck picked up a hamstring injury now. So, and this is the thing with Brighton, which is going to probably like go against them. I think if they kept their 11 players fit every game, they'd be really good. But it's that depth of squad that probably not going to help so much, like, you know. So it's a good probably time to take on Brighton than it was a couple of weeks ago. Now, a couple of weeks, I was listening to the Liverpool Brentford game, and they say, not many teams are going to come to Brentford and win. You know what I mean? Like, now Liverpool have lost and Arsenal. Well, Brighton have gone there and won. You know what I mean? So, you know, Liverpool and Arsenal couldn't do what they'd done. So this team's got to be respected and no liberties taken with Brighton. I do expect Arsenal, with the form that they're in, to give it a real good go and defensively. And I'm looking for Arsenal to win this game. But by under no stretch of the imagination is this game going to be easy. And if you are going to get to where Arsenal want to go and where we want to go, and that's top 4 or in the top 6, it's going to be, you've got to go to Brighton and win those games. You've got to go there. But ultimately, it's not going to be an easy game. And this is a bigger test than the Tottenham game. I said it earlier on. I really do believe that's not because Maz is I've said that 2-3 weeks ago. This is a massive game for Arsenal because it's no good going and winning the North London derby for Mikel Arteta. People need still convincing. I need convincing that you're the real deal, Mikel. So you've got to go to Brighton and get that result. Then you've got to come back after the international break, see Palace, see Villa off at home before taking on Leicester, which, you know what I mean, mate, you turn around and you could say, well, as long as we don't lose that game, then you know, I think we've got Liverpool after that.
Yeah.
So, you want to go into that with momentum, don't you?
I want to go to the Liverpool game unbeaten, preferably like all wins, you know what I mean? Like, but I'll probably take a draw at, and I say this is a strange situation. I take a draw at Leicester, but Leicester and nowhere near in the sort of form that Brighton are. But so realistically, if we can go to get a result against Brighton, we should be able to get a performance against Leicester. But the only way we get a performance and a win against Brighton is if we defend properly, don't make no mistakes, and then we can hit them on the break, because we have the firepower. I don't care what anybody says. Those players on their day will frighten most teams.
Let me come to you, Maz, because what part of your team most excites you, and what part of your team are you maybe a little bit worried about playing Arsenal?
Well, I want to say excite, but I think I'm most confident in our defence. Just usually if we have our starting, back five, we've got Cucurella has just come in, the new left back.
I know him pretty well. From Getafe, good player, big energy. Yeah, he plays left wing back, does he?
Yeah, left wing back, and he's been the biggest for me, because we wanted a striker, and you saw Nunes for Benfica. We were heavily linked with him as well, who scored twice last night. And bringing in a striker was the key transfer sort of for us this window. However, it didn't happen, and we got Cucurella in, who for me, I always said it to all the boys on our podcast. He for me was the key signing. So him coming in at left wing back, and then obviously you got Dunk in that centre. Duffy now has come back from his loan on Celtic, and then of course it's usually Webster, but he's out injured, and Veltman now sitting in there. And we've got Tariq Lamptey as well as right wing back, who's just coming back as well. So for me, I'm most confident in our defence. I feel like when we've got our full back five, it's up there with, outside the top six. For me, it's up there as one of the best defences in the league. And then going on to probably our problem area, or my worry now with Basuma out, is definitely centre midfield. I feel like if you're, I don't know if Partey's fit, but Lokonga, any of those boys that are playing, they're going to have, if Basuma's not in there, as we saw against Palace, we really struggled. To keep Conor Gallagher quiet, and so we can't keep Conor Gallagher quiet. I'm a bit worried if with the Arsenal midfield coming at us. So he played brilliantly, but centre midfield without Basuma. It is a bit of a worry for me, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Dan, one thing I truly believe, we do have a lot of respect for Brighton, don't we? We do have a lot of respect. Dan, do we have a super chat that's come in?
Yeah,
or
we do actually.
Let's just deal with a super chat.
Sure. This one is from 40 Side. Thank you very much for your kind donation. Tomiyasu looks a good signing. Brings a physical presence to our back four along with Gabriel. However, I still think the key to our success is Thomas Partey. Everything seems to click with him on the pitch. Can't be wrong there, Kev, to be honest.
No, I think I think 40 Side spot on, Lee. Don't you?
I do. Do you know what? I was talking on a podcast earlier on today, and we was going through the whole team. Oh, he done this and that. He done this. He was brilliant, and no one mentioned Thomas Partey, because that's what you expect from Thomas Partey.
It's a typical performance, exactly.
That's the performance that you expect from him. That's the level. And he just went about his business doing it really, really well. But because he's that good, people don't go, oh, this is that. That's the level that he's put himself at, because he's a class player. We know that. Some of the things that he does on a football field are great. Lee,
that pass. Oh. Well, you're at the stadium. That pass to Aubameyang in the first leg, by the way,
was class. You know what I mean? If you want to go on Twitter, there's one of me doing the same sort of thing like on Sunday. But just saying,
what are you passing? You're not passing a ball. You've got to be passing. Is it passing a beer or something?
He's passing a half pint. That's what he's doing.
Half pint, a half. Yeah, passing a half.
I thought, God, is that Judge's out now? No, it's Thomas Partey. But anyway, that's another thing. He's absolute quality pass, and that's what he's got. But what I like about him, I don't know if you notice, you probably do in his game, is that he plays the right ball. If it needs to be played short, he play it short. If it needs to be long, his decision making is very, very is on point as well. I think that's very, very important. One of the things that I like about him, and I like about Lokonga as well, and it doesn't get the praise that it deserves, is that they take the ball in areas where if they lose it, they're in trouble. But they're confident enough to take the risk
reward. Risk reward. Yeah.
They're prepared to take it in there and play it off. Now, that's a risky business to do it in there, but they do it comfortably and do it really well. And I think that goes over the radar, under the radar, those sort of play. So quality in there, but I do still say this. As Maj said, Brighton are building their success on a steady back four or back three and defensive unit. Arsenal have got to do the same, and I think because our defensive unit has been solid in the last few games, it's meant that we've been able to win 1-0 at home, 1-0 away, and then give us the confidence to go and do what we did against Tottenham.
Yeah, Dan, what's your thoughts on Mikel Arteta right now? Because I know you're not Arteta in or Arteta out at the moment. You're like, you don't mind if he was changed or whatever. But what's your thoughts now that you're starting to see maybe the team gel a little bit?
So I was quite clear about the situation, and I go back to the end of last season. I was amazed, Kev, after Villarreal that they didn't replace him just because it had been such a shambolic season. But we saw that the board were happy to stick by him through the summer. So I gave him the first 6 games. And the reason I gave him the first 6 games was because I think then you can judge what's going to be happening throughout the first part of this season. And also, if it is a terrible start, then you're not quite too late to then ruin another season. So that's why I wanted to give him those 6 games. And I said that I wanted him to get at least 10 points, but I would accept 9. And he's ended up getting 9. I really didn't think he was going to, but he's ended up getting 9. So as much as I still don't think he's right for us right now, long term, he could be a great manager, Mikel Arteta. Let's be honest, he could be. He's learning his trade, and that was always my worry, that he was learning his trade at this magnificent club.
On the job.
And I didn't want that, I never wanted the guy. And Casey, I know you didn't want him either, let's be honest. We wanted someone proven and a proven winner. But right now, where I'm at is this. If he can prove to me that with his team, because this is his team now, that he can go on a run of games, the momentum is coming to the games where we get tested, and he makes me stand back and go, I'm starting to see a style of play here. I'm starting to see the players get on board with him, and I'm starting to see us play attractive styles of football that we are now winning comfortably, and we look good at the back. There's balance in the team. There's attractive style of football. Then, of course, I'm going to come on board with it because I'm an Arsenal fan, and I want Arsenal to win football matches. And although we've been winning and scraping over the line against Norwich and Burnley, I've started to see the mentality of the team a little bit better, which, to be honest, I didn't question as much as some, because I actually do rate this team. I just think that the manager at times was confusing them, mismanaging players, and not really giving us a style of play. But if he starts to give performances in like he did against Spurs, who can't get behind that? My worry is, KC, we won't see that, because I have seen inconsistency from this manager. So I will be looking at Brighton, Palace and Villa, and if we're not getting at least 7 points, I'm going to start questioning, thinking, okay, what's happening here then? Why are we going backwards? Because we're starting to see Norwich, Burnley, Spurs. I know Wimbledon, everyone said was easy, but you have to win it. 4 games in a row. That's momentum. Let's keep it going now. Now, we're not going to keep going to the end of the season, but I don't mind if we slip up against the Liverpool, Man City or Leicester, because they can do that against any teams. When we're slipping up against Brightons, Palaces, Villas, Leeds, Burnleys, I'm starting to question it, thinking we shouldn't be losing to these teams. There's question marks here. So I need to see more, but if we start to go that way, then yes, of course, I'm going to get behind it. But I've just seen enough over the last 20 months to put doubt in my mind, Casey, I'd say.
Yeah, I understand that. Just want to get to you, Maz, about a couple of your unsung heroes, to be honest. The likes of Adam Lallana playing in centre midfield. The likes of Pascal Gross. And even the crazy guy up front, Neil Morley. What's your thoughts on those players? Because I think you've had a great start, but those guys have really played a part, haven't they?
Yeah, of course. The most frustrating thing for me as a Brighton fan is keeping Lallana and Welbeck fit. As we all know, like historically, they get injured quite a lot. And even look, as we know now, Welbeck's a doubt for the game. Lallana's had his fair share last season. I think he must have been out, a good quarter of the season at least as a minimum. So it's, the biggest struggle is keeping them fit. But when they are fit, incredible. Like Welbeck against Palace was class. He's, running the channels, really making it difficult. He's not the most clinical, as you saw. He had a one-on-one chance as well, where he sort of fell over as he was about to shoot. He's not the most clinical in that respect, but he will do all the the like you said,
graft.
the underrated work. Yeah, the graft, exactly, the stuff that people don't really expect. So what you got Welbeck that, and of course we all know Lallana. He uses quality, doesn't he? Uses class. He does the simple things, as Lee was saying earlier. About Partey. He does. Lallana's the same. He does the simple things really well. He keeps the team ticking. He's that sort of experienced head in the squad as well, which we really lacked. So to bring him in was massive for us. So yeah, definitely they've been huge. It's just keeping them fit. That's the key thing. And of course, Mope, he's a mad bastard.
Every Arsenal fan's
he loves
favourite.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's brilliant. And the thing is, he's such a lovable. For me, he's like a Jamie Vardy, just not as good. He's that sort of that lovable character. You all love to have him on your team, but he's a bit horrible. He'll wind you up and he'll celebrate just as much. So he's been top quality, as we spoke about earlier. He's become more clinical now. So I think there was a stat I saw which was crazy to me. So this season he's had 11 shots, 4 goals. And then last season he had something like 70 shots and 8 goals. So it just shows how many. I know, of course, but we're still early in the season, obviously. But it just shows that he's very clinical this season in taking his chances. And of course, it was a great finish against Palace. So hopefully he bring that in, bring that kind of confidence into the game. And we'll see what happens.
Trossard as well, Maz.
Yeah, Trossard. But how did you celebrate, Maz? How did you celebrate that goal on Monday?
No, you lot aren't going to enjoy this. I'll tell you what, Lee especially, he's not going to enjoy this. This is really bad. So I couldn't get an away ticket. So I actually had to sit in the Palace end for that.
Oh.
So yeah, that was painful. Honestly, it was honestly 93 minutes of pure hell. Like genuinely, it was pure hell. I couldn't celebrate. I couldn't show any emotion. And it was quite a funny story as well on my phone. So I've got a Brighton Hove Albion screensaver. So it was full brightness, and the guy. So I got it through a friend who was a Palace staff member, and he's like, "Man, you need to turn that down. Like, you need to turn that brightness down because if someone sees you, it's not gonna end well."
It's not going to be good.
Yeah,
but South London boys ain't going to take no prison.
I know they weren't too happy, but obviously, when the goal went in, it was just. Like internally, I was screaming internally. Obviously, I was giving a couple of fist pumps in my jacket. That's all I could do, really. And then I just started filming the Palace fans because I was like, I've got to catch the tears. I've got to catch the tears in 4K. So I started filming them. And then as I was leaving the stadium as well, I was like, I need some kind of like release as well. So I walked out the stadium, started chatting to some Palace fans. I was like, pretending I was a Palace fan. I was like, oh, terrible game, wasn't it? Awful that. And then one of them was like, yeah, I'll be thinking about that all week. I was like, yeah, so will I. And then just walked off. So I had to get something out, I had to get some kind of release out because it was a horrible watch, I'll be honest with you, because we played poorly as well. So for 94 minutes, we were poor. But then, that euphoria at the end is, something else.
Well, it was like a win, wasn't it? You pegged it back.
Exactly.
You did peg
exactly,
it back.
Yeah. And I saw a lot of Palace fans giving it some as well, going, "Oh, you lot are celebrating as if it was a win." I was like, "Well, how else do you celebrate a 95th minute equaliser at your arch rivals away from home?" So, yeah. No,
after playing poorly and you take something from the game.
Exactly. It's a bit more sweet, isn't it? When you play awful and you get a result, it's a little bit more sweeter, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Dan, would you take a draw?
No, mate. I wouldn't.
Good
because
man. Good man.
Because I do think on paper that we should be beating them. And I know you shouldn't really look at things on paper, but I honestly believe we've got enough. I think it's good news if Basuma isn't 100% fit. Yeah. If Danny Welbeck ain't 100% fit, I don't want him coming back and scoring. So I think it is perhaps, like Lee says, a good time to play Brighton. I think the only thing is we do need to go into this with showing them the respect that I think they deserve, because we'd be foolish not to. I think they're a very good side. Don't go in there brushing them aside thinking, do you know what, this is going to be a nice easy one and we concentrate on Palace or Villa. Let's concentrate on Brighton and Brighton only, because they're a team that can cause us problems because the proof's in the pudding. They've done it before, and I think that if we go in there with the right attitude, we have a very, very good chance of taking 3 points, Kev.
Lee, what do you think, Lee?
No, I'm with Dan on that. I'm really looking forward to this game because I want to see where we are. It's like great that we got the win against Spurs, so confidence should be high. I think this is a big key game. What we do now, and I think this is a good test for us. You know, look, listen, there's better, no disrespect to Brighton, there's better teams than Brighton in the league, you know, and we know that, but there's not many teams at this moment that are in the form that Brighton are in. So you've got to go there and take them on at this stage and say, do you know what? Boy, we've gone to Burnley, which was a difficult place, but got to win there. But we've gone to Brighton up the top there, you know what I mean? Look, as May said earlier on, if they'd have beaten Palace, we actually, if they'd have beaten Palace, we could actually be now taking on Brighton,
league leaders,
who would be top of the league. You know what I mean? So like that. So I think it's a massive game. You know, you show your mettle, you show what your little statement is needed. Like, you know what I mean? Because I think at the moment people are turning around and saying this is no disrespect to the likes of Burnley. Like Norwich have lost every single game they've played. Kev, you know what I mean? Like. Burnley haven't pulled up no trees at all, like, and Spurs are on a poor run. So you people go, well, can't throw that same sort of stick at us.
Narrative. You can't throw it at Brighton. Yeah.
No, you can't throw that at Brighton. Like, do you know what I mean? So, like, this is why this is an important game for us to do what I think set a statement on Saturday night.
Maz, what's the score going to be? What's the score?
I tell you what, I said this on our podcast as well. I reckon it'll be 1-1. I think it'll be a draw. Just because I feel like, you guys are coming into it full of confidence. You've just beaten, Spurs in the North London derby. You've picked up, like you've all said, a really good win away at Burnley. So you're really coming into it with a lot of form, and you've got some great players. Aubameyang, Saka, Emile Smith-Rowe. All the other players that,
etc.
Odegaard, you've got
Party,
some, it goes without saying, going forward, I'm very worried. So I think he'll definitely score, but then at the same time, I feel like we can maybe get a goal. It'll be interesting to see. We talked about Tomiyasu earlier. It'll be interesting how Kukurea, does against him as well, because we don't really play any wide players as such. So it'll be interesting to see Kukurea going down that wing against Tomiyasu and how that battle goes on. I think that could be key going into the game. But I reckon Mope to score for us, just to add a bit of mix.
Man, no, don't say that.
And then I'll go Aubameyang for you boys. I reckon 1-1 draw for me.
Okay, Dan, what's your thoughts on the scoreline?
1-0 to the Arsenal. Old school. I'm going for a 1-0.
Grab.
Yeah, I'll take it. Someone put in the chat earlier that seagulls like chips and they nick their chips. So I hope that you don't nick our chips. That's what I'll say. But I'll tell you, I do think that we are looking better defensively. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 to the Arsenal, Casey.
Right. Lee, what's your thoughts?
2-0 to the Arsenal. I'm going for this one. I know, that's not very good. I just think that I think we need to. It's more like with me saying that I think we need to make a statement, but I'm convinced that Arsenal are on the up, and I think that I predicted this that we get results against Norwich, Burnley, and Spurs, and I stand by it. I think that we will against Brighton, and more so because I feel we need to. We need to.
Yeah. For me, I said 2-0. I said 2-0 to Arsenal, and when I look at both teams, obviously now we're going to see potentially Brighton get their squad stretched a little bit if Welbeck can't play, if Basuma can't play, etc. So there might be a rejig of the squad, and we've got everybody bar Xhaka fit. So that continuity. We're high off the North London derby. Not saying we are the finished product or anything like that, but I just see a change of attitude. I see a change of aggression in the team. I see a change of the approach from the players when they get across that white line. And they've won their last season, and it wasn't pretty, if you remember rightly. There was no fans there. And we know the fans do get behind the home side. So that's going to probably work in our favour because they're going to come at us. And if there's ever anything I want to see on Saturday, is our front three attacking Brighton's back three. That's what I want, because I think we've got the beating of them at the top end of the pitch. The key is, can we get enough good ball to our forwards? If we can get enough good ball to our forwards, I think we'll win the game convincingly. If not, that it's going to be a tough game at the office. Maz, I just wanted to ask you really something about your manager.
Yeah.
Do you think Graham Potter is there next season?
That's a tough one because, look, it goes without saying he's going to be one of the most highly sought after managers in the Premier League. Should one of the top 6 teams lose their managers, I'm not one of those fans that are deluded and think, oh yeah, we're going to keep him forever, all that kind of stuff. I'm very realistic and I appreciate he's highly sought after and he's a quality manager. So it's a tough one to say. I'd like to think maybe one more season. He'll give us one more season after this, just to see where we are. So, for example, if we manage to get a top half finish, that'd be incredible. If we were to do that, would that maybe give him an incentive to right? What can I do next season? Can I push forward to even a Europa Conference League spot? Or some kind of European spot. I'm just thinking 2-3 years ahead. But could that be an incentive to him, just depending on how this season goes? To stay for one more season after that and then assist his situations. But I think, to be realistic, coming up to the end of this season, if one of the top 6 come for him, I think he'll go just because he's one of those managers who's got ambition. He'll want to test himself right at the top. And the same with Basuma. He'll be gone by the end of the year, 100%. Whether it's in January, whether it's the end of the season, he'll be gone just because, again, he's got high aspirations. And I don't begrudge him of that. I want all of our players to go. Like Ben White. When Ben White went to you boys, I was like, to be honest, he's outgrown us. He's bigger than he should be giving his.
Do you think that was a good signing for us, Maz? Did you think that was a good signing for us?
I think in time it will be. For me, he's quality. Yeah, on the ball. I think Lee was saying earlier. It was weird that was it last game he was bad on the ball. But
Burnley.
in the air, was that
Burnley
right?
was bad.
I was saying, yeah.
Burnley was bad.
Yeah, that's right.
It was good. It was good against Spurs. Yeah.
So I think he'll definitely come good. From what I've seen him last season. But in saying that, when the whole of the Premier League was saying, "Oh, you've lost Ben White, you're going to get relegated," for me that was mental because I've seen our team last season, week in, week out, and I know for a fact that Ben White is great. But he's not the end all and be all. Dunkey was actually better than him. Lewis Dunk, Adam Webster was better than him last season. And then he was arguably our third best centre half. So to get 50 million for our third best centre half last season, I'll take that all day. That's not saying that in the future, because I very much believe and confident he will become a very, very good centre half. He's got all the attributes. In the air he's not great, but on the ball, and the way he can bring the ball out from defence, the way he's quite, he's tactically aware. He's got all the attributes to be that top centre half. He just needs to keep his head in the game and really concentrate for the full 90 minutes, as we saw against Rashford. He got against Rashford. He got absolutely annihilated when we played him at home. So yeah, he has that odd time where he can go a bit missing or look a bit dodgy, but in the future he'll be a top centre half.
Yeah, fantastic. Dan, what about our manager? Do you reckon he'll be at the club come the end of this season? That's to you both. That's to you and Lee. Actually, that's to both of you. What do you think?
For me, all depends. Results business. So all depends what we do in the next few games. And I think it will be next few games. I don't think it's give him till Christmas, give him till March, give him to another window. I think it is literally every time that we do not get a result that we believe that we should be getting against the team that we should be beating. And I don't mean the Uniteds and Cities in the top 4s. I mean people like Crystal Palace, let's for example, at home. If we're going to be going and beating Brighton and losing to Palace and drawing to Villa, he's going to be under pressure again, Kevin. I still stand by it will be a matter of when he gets sacked, not if he gets sacked, because I still don't feel long term that he is right. But I, of course, hope I'm wrong. I keep saying I want to be wrong because I want this team to progress. I quite like this 11. I really do. Yeah. I quite like what I'm seeing. I've liked what I've seen from the new signings that have come in as well. I think they've all been successful, if I'm honest with you. So, yeah, for me, I want to be seeing us with some momentum. I think if we get that, Mikel Arteta will be here. But it's every game as it comes, as you know, Casey.
Yeah, Lee, what's your thoughts on? Do you reckon he'll be there?
I just think he's got to carry on winning games. I think if we was to lose to Brighton, I think we're back to square one. You know what I mean? So I think that he needs to win games of football, and he needs to convince the fans. And I think he's over these last 3 games. I'm sort of saying, do you know what? I think he can turn this around. I'm not saying he's going to, but I feel that he's got a chance of doing it,
Yeah.
But ultimately, he needs to win games of football, Kevin. He needs to beat Brighton.
That's for sure. Dan, have we got some super chats there?
Got first one from Brady's Banana. Says that defence no longer fills me with dread. A tough match, but 2-0 to the Arsenal this weekend. He's agreeing with Lee Judges. And this is one for Maz, actually. This is from Wayne Sage. Is there time to explain the Brighton and Crystal Palace derby? How do these teams become rivals? Maz.
Yeah, so just to clarify, it's not a derby, all right? It's not a derby. Whatever people call it. We call it the El Gatwico, which I don't mind. I don't hate that. However, yeah, it's not a derby. It's more of a rivalry. And it stemmed back from the 80s, I think. Well, I think a little bit before that, in the 70s. But when it really became fierce was in the 80s with Alan Mullery as our manager. He basically clashed with the Crystal Palace manager. And it sort of really heated up back in the early 80s, sort of late 70s. I think that's where it really stemmed from. And then, yeah, it's just grown from there. And I think obviously the badges, Eagles versus Seagulls as well, like, you know, that kind of weird thing as well. So yeah, it's definitely not a derby in my eyes. I know, you know, some of the older generation believe it is a derby. In my eyes, it's more a rivalry, a fierce rivalry, rather than a derby in my eyes. But yeah, that's just my opinion on that. And yeah, it all stemmed from the late 70s, early 80s with the managers.
Brilliant. For me, Dan and Lee and Maz, I personally think Graham Potter will be there next season, and I think Mikel Arteta will be at Arsenal as well. And I know it's easy to just say this because nobody knows the future. But we've seen with his players, there's a change of attitude. As I said, there's been a change of mentality. And for once, people are starting to like the club a little bit more. Do you know what I saw at the Emirates on Sunday? I saw the 12th man, the fans, buy into this team. I saw that for Brighton on Monday at Palace. That buy-in, although they scored late, Maz, that buy-in with the supporters was there. Because why? Because you're doing okay. You're starting to do well. We've picked up 9 points out of 3 games. Starting to do well. Fans feel it. That's what fans want. We want W's, and it's going to be a colossal battle this. Well,
if you're right, Kev, if you're right, and obviously Arteta and Potter are there next season, I think everybody on this podcast will be happy because it means that Brighton and Arsenal are doing very, very well.
Doing okay,
so
yeah.
Let's hope you're right.
Yeah. Just out of interest, with Arteta, because obviously as a neutral, I keep seeing, you know, so I work in social media, I work in, you know, sports media, so I always see all the sort of banter that goes across with Mikel Arteta and obviously Nuno Espirito Santo at Spurs now. Like, what does, for me, I just would like to be interested to hear from you guys as Arsenal fans. What does Arteta have to achieve this season for him to stay, or, you know, what does he have to do this season? Because I feel like he'll have 3 good games and then you'll love him, and then he'll have 3 bad games and then you hate him again. It's a bit like you've got a very
no, not 3, not 3, 1 bad game. Let's have it right. 1 bad game, and he's
yeah. So what do you think he needs to achieve this season for you guys to be like, right? Yeah, he's the manager next season.
Do you want me to go first? Can I go first on this one?
Yeah.
Maz, for me, I look at where the club's been, who the club are, the size of the club, and then you got to look at what's going on the here and now. Arsenal, the history of Arsenal, the flagrant spending of money and not having the assets within the club. There's been a culture in that dressing room that has stunk the place out. And Mikel Arteta had to come in and he's had to sort all that out and try and get results. Not an excuse, just the facts. So here we go. We start this season. He done a great job winning an FA Cup, which bought him a little bit of time last season. Fantastic. But here we are this season, and he had to change quite a bit of things because he knew the dressing room culture wasn't right. So what does he do? He starts bringing his own players in. And for the first 3 games, he doesn't have any of the new players virtually in the team. And we see the same Arsenal turn up week in, week out, where Brentford bullied us, battered us into submission on the first game, which was not Arsenal. Second game, we played Chelsea. Chelsea started the season awesome. We just weren't at the races, and we saw Lukaku give us a going over. Chelsea done us properly. although the fans were behind the team, which was great, but we just couldn't bear up. And then we saw the actual absolute debacle at Manchester City in the third game, where we got done 5. Man City didn't really come out of first gear or neutral, but we ended up losing 5-0. 3 games, bottom of the table, no points, no goals. Now, you move on to the international break. You come back there's a new signings. There's Gabriel's coming back. There's Ramsdale goes in there, etc. And from that moment forward, we've seen a change of attitude. Yeah, we just got over the line against Norwich, but that's all we needed to do. We just got over the line against Burnley. We really needed to do that. And then one of the bigger tests was Spurs at home. We battered Spurs. So for me, we're starting to see a change. Yeah, it is a results business, and we do need to keep going. I just think the owners, and I've said this before, the owner has bypassed international grade managers, top managers, to put Mikel Arteta in. So as far as I'm concerned, they've backed him they've spent the most money in the summer. So as far as I'm concerned, he's going to be the manager. You know, I said it a couple of shows ago. We're going to see how he gets on. The big test will be Spurs. He's come through that. The team have come through that. And I know Dan might think differently. I know Lee might think differently. But I honestly think he's going to be here to the minimum till next season. Dan, what do you think?
So obviously I'm a little bit less patient than KC in certain areas of the game. And he knows this. But
Yeah.
listen, if Mikel Arteta gets us back into the Champions League, I've been proven wrong, right? I have been proven wrong. The guy's got us playing football, and we're showing amazing progress if he does that. But I feel like I would say perhaps be a little bit harsh if we were to come 5th, and then I'd want him to get rid of. Depends how we finish 5th. If we finish 5th, 25 points off 4th, you know, and down with all the rest, then perhaps that's not an amazing achievement. But I think if we're close to that top 4, we just miss out on it, I think I'd go, do you know what, we're in the right direction because there's progress. My main thing, Maz, is how we're playing football, because it's not attractive to watch all the time. It was on Sunday, but it's not like that all the time. Not what I've seen anyway in 20 months. There's not really a style of football. Very negative, very boring, very unattractive. So if he can start showing me progression in terms of results by playing attractive football, I'll start to get on board. And I think that personally, I won't really accept anything lower than 5th or 6th this season, in my opinion. I think he needs to go if we're not showing progress. I think so. I think so, mate.
I want to see progression. I want to see us like momentum. I want to see us go on a 10, 15 game unbeaten run. That's what I want to see. Then I want to see us go and take on a Liverpool or Man United and feel like that we're in the game and we're competing, like, you know, against the top teams. I'm not saying we're going to go and beat them, but go and compete against them. And then, you know, maybe like a little League Cup in there as well, just this season to wind him up down the road. And then like I look at it and think like then the next season he has to really attack the top 4. I honestly at this moment in time I think it's unfair to say to Mikel Arteta, you got to get us in top 4, otherwise you're sacked. Because if you have a look at the top 4, Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, and Manchester United are all at this moment in time the best teams in the league. You know what I mean? So you're not going to get. I'd be very surprised if those 4 are not in there. If a team breaks through that top 4, I'll be very surprised. So that includes the rest of the league. So I think it'd be very, very difficult. But what I want to see is being top of the rest. So that means 5th.
What about 6th, Lee? If he got 6 and the team were looking up.
Yeah, and there was a momentum.
There's a momentum. Would that be acceptable?
Yeah,
because that's what I believe.
I would say, right, you know, yeah, if I've seen that and they've come 6, say like to a Liverpool, to a Everton or a Leicester or someone like that, then I would take that there. I certainly wouldn't take it if the other team is them down the road. I wouldn't take that then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
We've
important
got
now.
to finish
not
above them, yeah.
Yeah,
Got to finish above them this
that is
season.
one thing now. I'm fed up with it. I'm fed up with it that that them getting above us. West Ham are a good side, by the way. I've watched them a few times. So we've got to get above them as well. So it's not going to be easy. But I do still think that the European football or not having it will help us. Look at Chelsea. Look at Manchester City's last 3 games. Manchester City have played Chelsea, then they've gone and played Paris Saint-Germain, they've got Liverpool. They keep then say like it'd be Chelsea doing that the next week while we're all nicely fresh and everything like that. So and you look at the Leicesters and the West Hams, who I think that we're rivaling with it as well. They're playing all tonight while we're all sitting at home having a rest up and all that. I think that makes an advantage. So I do think that we've got a slight advantage to get into there, and I expect us to get into that fifth and sixth. 6, I think, is the worst we should finish, really.
Absolutely.
Worst case. Well, do you know what, guys? That's the end of the show. I don't know where the time goes when I'm on with you guys.
It's unbelievable.
And Maz has been excellent. So listen,
Thank you.
Maz, thanks for coming on, and Lee, Dan. Thank you again, and for everybody in chat and all the super chats, etc. We really appreciate you. Really appreciate you joining us. And Maz, may the best team win.
No, thank you very much, guys. It's been
Lovely
a
to
pleasure.
meet you, Maz. Cheers, my man.
And you. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Goodbye, everybody.